Hi, hello. Welcome to your hour yoga flow. If we've never met before, I am Dom. It is such a gift and a pleasure to get to be here with you. Props if you would like to use them. Blocks are always handy, or block substitutes. You can use cans of soup if you'd like. A blanket or a pillow or both is also really fabulous to help with sitting upright, as well as when we get to Savasana, making sure we can get super nice and cozy. Some water if you'd like it. If you happen to have a load of plants as well. I will say there's some beautiful magic that happens when you can kind of practice with your plants. I really, really love it. If you are on Instagram and you would like a bigger view of what we are doing, if you head on over to YouTube, Dominique Cheshire Movement, you kind of have a bigger stage for you there. That being said, let's find ourselves to a seat. So I'm gonna grab a cushion for myself to prop up on. If you feel like you are already lying down and you would like to stay lying down, please feel free. If you feel like standing is something you're much more interested in doing right now, please feel free. Otherwise, a comfortable seat if it's accessible to you, and however we can make it accessible to you. Letting your hands drop down onto your legs. Taking a moment to collectively come together. Taking those inhales in through the nose and exhaling it out through your mouth. This is our first time practicing together. I will let you know that I don't play music in my online classes. It gets a little precarious with getting kicked off. So please feel free, if you have a playlist that you like to listen to, throw that guy on, throw that puppy on. You can kind of make some movement magic with some music. In the meantime, inhaling through your nose, collecting anything that's sort of started to sit with you already today. Can we really blow that out? Let it go. Get it out of there. Let's do it again. Big inhale. Can your inhale come from deep in the pits of your belly as you inhale and collect anything that's been sticking with you today or yesterday? And exhale, blow it out. Next inhale, can you inhale from deep in your pelvis and collect anything that's just not serving you, that's maybe sticking around? Exhale, blow it out. One more time, inhale from deep down in the ground underneath you through your body. Exhale, let that out. Taking a pause. Returning back to your breath. It's like a little breath revolution there, collecting the things that aren't serving us, changing the chemistry of our breath. Notice if your eyes are closed, if they're like squeezing tight and shut, can we relax the muscles of our faces? Can we relax the gaze underneath our eyes? Can we relax the grip of our muscles around our bones right now? And allow everything to sort of start to stack in this really organic harmony. Inhaling in through the nose. Exhaling out mouth or nose. As you inhale, allow that chin to draw down towards your chest. Take a few breaths in and out there and just sort of feeling what that experience does for the rest of your body. Depending on what's happening, you might be feeling this all the way down your back into your pelvis. Using your breath, starting to swoop that right ear towards that right shoulder, just going to that halfway mark, and then allowing that chin to draw back down towards the chest. On your next convenient breath, letting that left ear swoop towards the left shoulder, and then bringing it down. Right ear towards right shoulder. Drawing chin towards chest, left ear towards left shoulder. Now, if it feels good to continue this semicircle, please feel free. If you'd like to expand, maybe that right ear travels to right shoulder, and then really calmly sweeping the back head behind you, or the back of the head behind you, till left ear finds left shoulder, and then we meet down back at center. Going the other way, left ear to left shoulder, maybe that feels fabulous, or maybe it feels appropriate to swoop the back of the head around. Right ear to right shoulder. Back down, chin towards chest. Can we start to harmonize some breath with this movement? And if you happen to find a yawn in there, please feel free to let it go, freeing the yawn, or let it out, I should say, not letting it go. Left ear to left shoulder, Swooping back around. All the way back to center. One more time each way. And maybe you're still indulging in those semicircle versions of this, which is also really fabulous. One more time to the left. All the way behind you. Around to center. Roll your spine up tall. Roll those shoulders on your back. Can you inhale to reach those arms up? Exhale, bow forward in space. Taking those hands, walking them over to the left. Maybe rearranging your feet if you need to. Enjoying maybe a bit of an experience down that right side and trying to breathe into it. And out. Walking hands through center all the way over to the left. Breathing it in here. Breathing it out. Walking hands back to center, back through the middle of your body, rolling yourself up. And again, can we inhale to reach the arms up? As we breathe out, let's take the right hand down beside the right hip. Left arm reaches overhead as we take a side bend here. Trying not to collapse into our waist, but rather lengthening up and over, taking one more breath in. Breathing out to come all the way back to center. Stay at center, inhale to get nice and tall. And then as we exhale, left hand comes down beside left hip, side bend over to the left. Feeling that bit of a stretch happening through the right side of the body. Inhaling here. Breathing out to bring yourself all the way upright. Inhale, nice big stretch overhead. Maybe bring your hands interlaced behind your head. Can you lean your head into your hands? Let the elbows close a little bit. And from the sternum, can we lengthen our collarbone out and our collarbones, our sternum bone out and up? So we're allowing the head to be nice and soft in the hands. When we're doing this, can we make sure we're not popping our rib cage out and away from us? We want to collect the waist in and just let the shining, the radiation happen from the center of the chest, or the radiating, I should say. Take one more breath there. And then as we breathe out, we're just going to close, sort of like we're doing a really slow, cheesy version of, what's that dance move where you pop open and close? The sprinkler. Like we're doing a really slow, delicious version of the sprinkler. Keeping your tailbone, your seat rooted, lengthening up from the center of your chest. Lean back into your hands. Maybe you feel an opening through the pecs here as well. And then exhaling to scoop the belly close into that. 2 more times. Inhale to lengthen up and out. Exhaling to draw it in. Squeeze through the midline. One more time. Inhaling up, out, and back. Exhaling to close. Now we're going to get really fancy here. Can you stay closed in on yourself? It's like you're trying to free that yum. Squeeze your head in. Scoop up through your pelvic floor and round forward. And then we're going to take this whole shape, just the rib cage up and around to the right. And maybe you can open those arms out, or elbows out, I should say. Head still supported in your hands. Let's scoop and round forward again. So we're closed up in that sprinkler moment. And then just the rib cage around to the left. And as you go around to the left, maybe open those elbows back up. Keep leaning into your hands. Keep heavy on your opposing sit bone. Squeezing your elbows in, drawing yourself around through space, over to the right. Elbows open. So it's kind of funny, like we can have a little bit of a giggle in these moments, but really isolating that upper spine. Maybe it feels so fabulous to go around to the side. You can go up and back, pass through that shining up moment, find your side bend sprinkler moment to the left, and then close everything in through center. Maybe you can take it the other way where you take the side bend of the rib cage to the left, the elbows open up. Circle up and back. Let your head rest back as your heart, as your center of your chest shines up and forward. Over and around to the right, and then closing in on yourself through center. 2 more. Really getting nice and looby and mobile with support up into that upper cavity, yeah? Down and around, and trying our very best. I mean, my legs are moving too. Do not let your legs support you, and then your legs not moving with you. It's going to turn your abs on as well. Around through center. Roll yourself up in space. Take a nice big inhale and reach up to the ceiling. Maybe on exhale, shake those arms down. Thank you for playing with me there. Let's scoot anything that's supporting your pelvis out of the way. Let's come onto the floor. We're going to tuck our toes underneath us, and we're just going to sit ourselves up and back. So just giving your toes a little wiggle here, just taking a second to kind of hang out. If this starts to feel too intense, take your body weight forward. And as you're tucking your toes underneath you, we just sort of give our wrists a little bit of a rock and roll here. Just sort of feeling them out. So in our classes, I do my super best to try to give as many options as quickly as I can for different versions of experiences that might be happening in your body. That being said, I am just one person in space right now. So if there's something that's immediately feeling not great that you kind of want to back out of, please feel free to freestyle your practice, yeah? Let's reach those palms out. Let's flex out through our wrists. Reach, 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 reach. It's like we're doing like a superhero push here, and then draw your fingertips down and in. Flexing out, still sitting on those heels, giving a bit of a fascial stretch here through the feet. Drawing your fingertips in. One more time, flexing out through the hands. Tucking your wrists in, and then give those shoulders a nice roll of support here. Bring yourself forward in space. Maybe give those toes a little wiggle. Ooh, those ankles a little bit of a wiggle. And then setting yourself up on hands and knees. If this doesn't feel fabulous to weight bear on your wrist, you're welcome to kneel and work on a version of a cat-cow from kneeling. As you inhale, can you lengthen? Now we're going to go extreme, and then we're going to go contained. So as you inhale, can you really lengthen through your tail, really let your belly flop, and really let your chest sort of shrug, like with as little energy as possible. This does not look comfortable. And then exhale, can you really super, super, super round and not really think much about how you get there? Step one, as we inhale, as we draw forward, let's not collapse our shoulders to our ears. Instead, let's draw our shoulder blades down our backs. Squeeze our shoulder blades down our backs. Push the floor away and do that shiny heart forward thing again, just like we did when we were seated. As you breathe out, can you fire through your glutes and your low belly? So you're trying to hollow, hollow, hollow as you push the floor away. As you inhale, lengthening through your tail, again, draw the shoulder blades down the back, draw your chest forward, really hug those heels of the hands down towards your knees. And then as you breathe out, again, round through the belly, fire through the glutes, push the floor away, let your head hang, and can you squeeze into your arm muscles? Now keep your arm muscles squeezing as you lengthen through your tail, through your pelvis, through your belly, as you draw your chest through your hands. Keep squeezing those arm muscles. As we exhale, scoop and round. And right now, can you focus on that fleshy low belly space being the roundiest part? Two more. If you'd like to match breath here, inhale. Keep the tension you're building through your arms and through your legs. Through your belly. Exhale. One more time. Inhale to lengthen it out. Exhale, scoop, tuck, round. If it feels reasonable, stay rounded, tuck those toes. If it feels reasonable, lift up and back, but keep a nice bendy knee here in your downward dog. If being in a downward dog doesn't feel good, feel free to stay on hands and knees and start working through that cat-cow a little bit more here. Wherever you are, can you take a nice big breath in through your nose? Exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. Draw your rib cage in, flex out through those arms, and really super push the floor away here. Keeping a juicy bend of your knee to allow that lengthening of the tail. And as the tail lengthens, we draw the rib cage in. There's a lot of ease in saying, okay, downward dog is our rest. But I actually don't think that. I feel like downward dog is more of our home-based check-in. Your torso is a plank here. Your arms are pushing. We're working on some mobility through our hamstrings. So there's a fair bit happening here. Let's get going with those hips. As you inhale, reach your right leg back, whether you're in downward dog or not. And as you breathe out, pull the right leg in, pop the right foot down to the outside of the right hand. Drop your left knee to the floor. First little bit of business, we're going to hug those legs in to turn on the muscles of our legs. We're going to turn those right toes out to 10 o'clock. We're going to roll up to that pinky toe edge side of our foot. Keep growing long through your spine. Take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, you're going to squeeze those legs in and you're going to try to open out through that thigh. We're going to maintain tension here, staying long through the torso. You're pushing that floor away. Hand could be at your hip. You're still squeezing your back bum cheek for 3. This is my response to pigeon, yeah, to keep tension. 2, 1, close that leg in, maybe sit your bum back, give yourself a little bit of a hamstring stretch. Breath in here, breath out here. Walk yourself forward, pause. So back knee on the floor, let's fire that back bum cheek. We're not sitting down in our hip flexor, we're lifting up. Foot is planted facing to 2 o'clock, roll up to that pinky toe edge side of your foot. Hug those legs in. Now without using your hands, try to open that hip up, lengthen through your spine, maybe reaching that top arm, squeeze, 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 and open, open, open for 4. Everything is full tension here. So you've been squeezing through your arms for 3, for 2, for 1, plant that foot, send your bum back, give yourself a little hamstring stretch. It's okay if it's not like perfectly parallel. Hamstrings run in different directions anyway. 2 more. Plant that foot down, it faces 2 o'clock, hug the back leg, back bum cheek in, roll up to that pinky toe edge side of your foot, rotating from your torso the way we practice, hug those legs in, push the floor away. We're squeezing, we're holding, we're creating tension through our body here for 4. For 3, can you fire that back bum cheek? 10s, 10s, 10s. For 2, for 1, plant your foot, walk yourself back, give yourself a little stretch. You could always slide a blanket or a towel or cushion underneath your knee here. Last time, walk it forward, plant the hand, hug the legs in to fire the bum cheek, rotate the torso, open the thigh. Now remember, it's not just sitting nice and flat. It's energized in. It's trying to create more tension by opening, more squeezing of the glute, maybe reaching through that arm for 4. Maybe you don't love this and you want to keep both hands on the floor if that feels nicer on your wrists. For 3, can we keep as much tension as possible here? For 2, for 1, plant the hand, sit your bum back, walk your foot back to center, and we'll take a hamstring stretch here. Maybe playing with a flexed foot. Now, if you want to add a little more tension here, which I recommend, think about hugging that right heel down into the floor and then that right hip socket back. So again, it's not passive. Quad is nice and tight. I'm playing a lot with this idea of being sensation-seeking beings. And often in our yoga practice, because it lends itself to flexibility, we can sort of, that be what we're sensation seeking, right? Is the flexibility. But if we're thinking about our practice being a long-term endeavor for our bodies, we don't want to just sink into flexibility. We want to create some support in those spaces. Otherwise, your body sort of builds this like noodle pain, which is not the professional term, but it's when you have a range and a range without support. And because I know we love our practice and we want to continue our practice for as long as possible, we want to make sure that we're offering support in that range. My leg is shaking. Is your leg shaking too? Quad is on. We're hugging that right heel back for 3, for 2, for 1. Plant that foot. Plant your hands. Now, however you have to get there, you can lift up through that back thigh. Can you step back into a downward dog? One more thing for your hip here. Remember, you could totally also be on hands and knees. No problema. Let's reach that right leg up again. Now, let's really try to hug the heel to the glute and lift up like you're trying to tap your knee to the ceiling. And then open that thigh out. As much as your thigh and your hip are opening, we're trying to keep that foundation of our downward dog, pushing the floor away, drawing the ribs in, lifting the thigh up, giving it for 2 here. For 1, let's rotate those hips back to center, lengthen the right leg out, lower plant to the floor. If you'd like to take a shell stretch here or just a break off of your wrist, feel free. If you'd like to flow, we're going to flow, inhaling to ripple forward into first maybe plank of the day together. Now, still feeling all that work we already talked about, the pushing of the floor away, the squeezing of the arms, the hugging of the shoulder blades down the back. The glutes are on, the toes are hugging in. Take one more breath in here, maybe coming down to your knees. As you breathe out, gently lowering your chest down to the floor. Flip your toenails, inhale, just a little baby back bend here. And then as we exhale, sliding it up and back, downward dog. Taking a breath in through the nose. Exhaling it out. Finding all that lovely, delicious home base. Maybe a bend of the knee is still called for. Ribs are drawing in. We're trying not to send our chest through our hands, but rather keep a really connected experience through the armpits and the back body. Inhale, your left leg is going to reach up. And then as you breathe out, bring the left foot through, plant it to the outside of the left hand, right knee finds the floor. Right out of the gate, we're trying not to sit in that experience. We're trying to like hug in. And as you hug in, there will be a nice bubbling of tension that happens in your pelvis here. Turning those left toes out to 10 o'clock, take your pause and really hug those legs in. And notice as I do it, I sort of like bubble up. Rolling to the pinky toe edge of that left foot. Can you hug the lefts in and rotate out through the thigh? As you do that, hugging in and rotating out, there is so much tension building up through your leg. Rotating, 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 and then maybe you twist, maybe you keep both hands on the floor. Now remember, our goal here is not to sit in tension, it's to create tension. So can you keep hugging the legs in, rotating that left thigh, keeping that tension for 3. So good for hip health here. For 2, for 1, plant your hands, sit your bum back, give yourself a little hamstring stretch. We have 3 more of these, yeah? Bringing it forward, finding that back glute, lengthening through the spine, rolling pinky toe edge, hug the legs in. We rotate through the upper body. We maybe lengthen that left arm. We're going here for 4. Can we create more tension, more experience, even through that arm for 3? The rotations happen through the torso, which we already practiced together today. For 2, for 1, plant your hand, plant your foot, set your bum back, maybe give yourself a little hamstring stretch. 2 more, bring it forward, hug those legs, rotate it out, zipping into your belly, fire, fire, fire. For 4, keep the tension going. For 3, for 2, for 1, bring it down, maybe a little bit of a break here. 1 more time, finding the glute, hugging the legs in. There's that inner line tension, rolling to pinky toe edge, rotating through that spine, opening up through that thigh. For 4, for 3, for 2. Last one, bring it down. Walk that foot back to center. Send your hips back, hamstring. Now, again, you make this as active or as passive as you want. I encourage the active, although it will feel probably miles more uncomfortable, yeah? So we're trying to take that front heel, squeeze it down into the floor and then back. So your left hip is drawing back. We're turning on through that quad, so it's really, really nice and active. And we're trying to lengthen out through our spine, yeah? Now, I know we want to work in this place where our tailbone is lengthened behind us for sure. But sometimes you just got tight hamstrings and it's not going to happen, like me today. So we want to keep going with that tension building through the leg that's working so that we can know that this stuff is safe, right? We're not just passively stretching out through our SI joint and our tailbone. We have activity happening here. Squeeze and hugging for 4. For 3, keeping it active for 2. Challenge yourself. Last one, bring it forward. Now, again, it's up to you if you want to plant your hands, lift your thighs, step back and find a downward dog. You could find a tabletop, a child's pose, whatever feels great for you. Your option to flow. Inhale, rippling your spine forward in space. Find a plank that works for you. That could be knees down. Non-negotiable is the activity. Push the floor away. Hands are drawing wide. Heels are hugging in. Heel of your hands are hugging in. Your toes are planting down. They're hugging forward. Heels are radiating back. So much tension in your body. 1 more breath. As you breathe out, dropping through those knees, inhaling to lower. Can you exhale to stay here and really feel the tautness of the legs? Now inhale to lengthen your chest up. Keep the legs nice and tight. And then as we exhale, we slide up and back, downward dog. Your call. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last little bit of business with that left leg. Let's reach the left leg up. Let's hug the left heel to the left bum. And let's lift that knee up towards the ceiling. With as much length as possible, then we open that left thigh out. Drawing into that belly. So we're not just sitting in our low backs, pushing that floor away, lifting that thigh up, 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 up. And then allowing those hips to come back to center. Reach the left leg up, lower the left foot down. Can you lift your heels, bend your knees, crouch it back. Lift up, plant those heels down, downward dog. Lift your heels up, bend your knees, crouch it back. Lift your heels up, lower down. 2 more. Heels lift, bend your knees and crouch. Bum goes up, heels go down. 1 more time, lift. Getting a little bit more juice back to those legs. Pause. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward. As you breathe out, maybe one, many, or 2 steps up to meet your hands. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to melt it down in space. Take a little pause here. Walk your feet so that they are about hip distance apart. Maybe give your hands a little rub together and give a bit of a zhuzh into your calves, into your hamstrings, into your hips. Just sort of saying hello to these body parts, maybe into your ankles. A little massage. Maybe up into your shoulders, into your neck, giving your head a little wibble in space. From here, inhale to come up halfway. Exhaling to melt it down. Bend your knees, roll yourself up. As you continue your inhale, reach those arms up to the ceiling. Take the hands back, interlace them behind your head as you breathe out. Inhaling to grow nice and tall. And then can you find that standing version of our head heavy in our hands, shining our chest up? We might be revisiting this. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Breathing it in. Breathing out to bring yourself all the way up. You can release those hands down beside your hips. Give yourself a little roll. Give yourself a little shake. If you need to coordinate yourself on your mat, feel free. Feet are planted down into the floor. Let's return to that breath. Maybe placing a hand at your heart or heart center. Maybe placing your hand on your belly. Breathing in and out. Now, if your Ujjayi breath is in your practice, and you haven't started it yet, you're always welcome to inhale through the nose. And then exhale through your nose like you're blowing out a straw. Constricts the back of the throat. Try to breathe really loudly so you can hear me. It's an energetic breath here. We're keeping the energy contained through one pathway as opposed to breathing out. Let your hands come down to your hips, standing nice and tall, feeling your whole width of your foot. Now with your eyes closed, can you lift all 10 toes up off of the floor? Open your toes as wide as you can, and then place your toes on the floor. Can you rock forward into that space? Maybe lift your heels just a smidgen. Feel like your heels are being pulled out and away from you, and then we place the heels down. Keeping the length that you've created, can we tilt over just slightly so you're on the right pinky toe edge side, left big toe edge side of your foot. Feel that really connect to the floor. And then rock through center to your other side. Feel the left pinky toe, right big toe, find its space on the floor, and then pause center. Your whole footprint, even across the ground as you inhale, the arms draw up. Exhale, diving forward in space over those legs. Inhale to come up halfway. As we exhale, let's lower down. Let's step that right leg back. Right knee finds the floor. Hug those legs in. Let's reach your arms up. Let's bring those hands behind your head. Now, really not sitting into our hips here. We're hugging those hips in nice and taut. Remember, you have that back bum cheek on. Can we be up really nice and tall? And we're trying to scoop that pelvis underneath us. And then maybe with those hands interlaced behind your head, you can start to lean your upper body only back in space. You have two conflicting experiences, or supporting each other experiences. We have the bottom part of our body trying to scoop and find that right bum cheek, your left hip hugging back, your head heavy and your hands leaning back in space. If you can feel that and you're like, yes, I got it, maybe it feels reasonable to lift your back leg up into a hover. We're here for 4. We're here for 3. For 2. Last one. Can we stand all the way up in space? Now, maybe you have a nice long stance here. You just need to shorten your stance a little bit. Your back heel is going to stay up and lifted. We're going to square into those hips. Arms can reach up as we start to dive forward. Now, this is if you have blocks available to you, a really good place to have them. Keep that back heel lifted up. Find your breath here. Now, same thing when we were doing our hamstring stretch a little lower to the ground. We want to feel the thighs zipping up. We want to feel the left foot pressing into the floor and hugging the left heel back. Right foot pressing down, hugging it forward, lengthening through your spine if that feels good, and then rounding in. For 2. For 1, can we bend into that front knee, sweep our arms to come back up, and let's open out into our warrior 2. Maybe a little shimmy of those feet is necessary. Opening up through those hips, finding your arms nice and long. Let's maybe lift up through that front heel, hug the legs in together. Use the strength of your external rotation that you already found on the floor to open that front thigh and then plant that foot down. Open those arms up. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's take the back hand to the back thigh. Reach through that front arm as we take ourselves into our exalted warrior here. Breathing it in. As we breathe out, let's windmill those arms. Pivot down to the floor. Optional flow here. You can find a downward dog. You can find a plank, a kneeling plank, a child's pose, whatever feels good for you. If you're flowing, let's flow. Inhaling here. As we breathe out, lowering down to the floor. Inhale, back bend of your choice. Maybe you find a full cobra, toes on the floor. Exhale, slide up and back, downward dog. Breathe it in here. Sigh it out. 4 more breaths. Maybe a pedal of the feet is required. Maybe a slide of the hips side to side. If you prefer to stay on hands and knees, maybe a little cat-cow or maybe some circles through the spine, right? Maybe that feels really fabulous for you here. 2 more breaths wherever you are. Inhaling it in. Exhaling it out. Together, inhale to lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward. Maybe many steps, maybe tiny steps, maybe some hops up to meet your hands. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to melt it down to the floor. Gentle bend in your knees as you roll yourself all the way, standing up tall. Let's exhale right away to bend and lower ourselves down. Inhale to lengthen out. As we exhale, this time your left leg is going to step back to the floor. Let's lower the left knee down. Hug the legs in, sweep your arms up, maybe the hands interlaced, hands come behind your head. So feeling that hugging in of the legs first, that drawing up of our torso, and that scooping of the pelvis underneath us. Hands come behind your head, can we lengthen up? And then maybe try to find that beautiful opening of the front of our chest up and back. Remember, there's 2 opposing experiences here. The first being the bottom half of the body, try to scoop on it underneath you. The second being the top half of the body, trying to lengthen up and back. Hug those legs in if this is going well. Maybe we power up to hover the back knee off of the floor. We're here for 4. We're here for 3. We're here for 2. Last 1. Can we lengthen all the way up? Beautiful. Now, if your legs end up in this really long sort of split C place and you feel like you're going to fall over, just shorten the stance in. Let's hug out through the hips, zip up through the thighs, reach the arms up, and then start to tilt forward. Now, maybe this is where blocks are nice and handy for you. Maybe it's not. But first sort of bit of housekeeping here is that we want to zip up through the thighs, lengthening out through our chest and melting ourselves forward. Coming back to your breath always, back to your intention always, back to your practice always. Breathing it in and out. When you're ready, bending into that front knee as a guide to help sweep us up, sweeping so much that maybe we then open, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle the legs out into our warrior 2. Warrior 2 being the place where our hips get to sort of open away from being squared forward, which means that work of our external rotators to keep that thigh reaching directly over the toes is important. That zip of the back thigh is super important, and the reaching of the arms, not mandatory, but kind of fun. Embracing that searching warrior. Breathing in here, breathing out. Always that energy of the legs hugging in, of that groundedness, allows our lower body to be rooted, allows our upper body to feel tall. Flipping through that front palm, backhand to back thigh, reaching the front arm forward and then exalting the shape. Taking a breath in as we breathe out, windmilling ourselves all the way down. Your choice if you'd like to step back to a downward dog, to a plank, to a hands and knees, to a child's pose. If you're flowing, inhale to ripple forward, immediately turning on all those housekeeping notes. As you breathe out, lowering yourself to the floor, keeping the collarbones wide. As we inhale, lengthening out and up, keep zipping through those thighs. As we breathe out, lifting the pelvis up and back, downward dog. Take a nice big breath in here, please, friends. Exhale, let's exhale, breathe to let it go. 4 more breaths. Now remember, if downward dog doesn't feel fabulous, you could be on hands and knees, working out some scooping and rounding here. Whatever feels good. Breathing it in, letting it out. When you're ready, inhaling to lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward. 1 step, many steps, maybe some hops or 1 hop to meet your hands. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to melt it down. Pause here. Walk those feet out hip distance again. Keep a bit of a bend in the knee. Maybe grab a hold of opposite elbows as you start to draw your chest forward and down in space. Maybe giving yourself a nice gentle little sway. Just seeing how this feels, not necessarily needing to have super straight legs here. In fact, it might feel nicer to bend more so that your upper body can melt more. If your head doesn't like being below your heart, you're always welcome to stay up halfway. Breathing it in. Letting those arms go, bending your knees more, pushing your feet through the floor, rolling yourself all the way up in space, maybe reaching those arms with you, breathing in. As you breathe out, bringing your hands down, they come to rest beside you. Inhale here. Exhale it out. Taking those feet, walking them back towards each other, finding your nice tall Tadasana. When you're ready, inhale, the arms reach up. Exhale, diving forward over those legs. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to melt, step that right leg back, maybe right knee finds the floor. Hug those legs in as you sweep the arms up, maybe fingers interlaced, find the back of your head. Inhaling to grow tall. Now keep the pelvis tucking under as we lengthen the part of the upper body up and back. If you can keep your pelvis tucked, if you can keep the lean back and you want to fire it up, lift the back thigh to hover. Take a breath in here, then as we breathe out, we're going to stand up nice and tall. Maybe that back leg needs to come in just a little bit. Hug up through those thighs, reach out through your spine, your arms, and then start to tip yourself forward in space. Finding that forward fold again with the nice straight legs. Now remember, you could have blocks here if you'd like to, no problem. Can we really, really lengthen out, keep zipping through the thighs? Can we keep hugging left hip back, right hip forward? Can we take our upper body and lengthen it out as straight as we can? I could definitely do with some blocks here, yeah, but know that sometimes we don't have them. Can we keep our hips level? Can we start to turn our upper bodies within this shape? Maybe reaching your left arm, maybe not reaching your left arm. Maybe left arm stays to hip. Taking 3 more breaths here. Now remember, the thighs are zipped. That left foot is pressing into the floor and hugging in. Back toes are pressing down and hugging forward. Take 1 more breath. Release this down. Can we bend into that front knee? Reach your arms up. Open yourself up and out into that warrior 2. Finding the activity here, that hugging in of the legs, the rotating of the thighs, the reach of the arm. Can we take this shape now? Keep the knee bent. We're going to take our torso forward. So it's kind of like we're going to almost rest our elbow on, or not our elbow, sorry, our ear on our bicep. So it's reaching, reaching, reaching. And then maybe the top arm comes with us. And so we're going to make like a little bit of a sandwich. So we're going to keep the knee bent, but we're going to open our arms out. And then we're going to exhale, reaching close. Inhale to open up and out. Exhale, reaching close. 2 more. Inhale out, open. Exhale, reach, hug the legs in as the arms move. 1 more time. Inhale to open. Exhale to reach and flow. Now pause. Can we still feel all the pressing of the feet in the floor? Can we still feel the external rotation of the legs? Can we imagine our top arm as an extension through the waist, through the back leg? Now here's where we get really exciting. Can we keep these things and straighten that front leg? same sort of experience, sensation that we were practicing up to here, where we keep that thigh nice and stable. Woo, it's getting spicy. Beautiful connection through the obliques here. For 2, for 1, let's take our arms like a lever, bring ourselves all the way up. Let's open the arms and turn those front toes forward. So we're framing our mats. If you feel fabulous with the arms up, feel free. If you'd like to bring them to your hips, that's awesome too. Inhale to get nice and tall. And then let's start to tip the torso forward. Zipping through those ribs and then melting it down. Giving yourself a gentle sway through that upper body. Zipping up through those thighs. Maybe a bend of the knee feels fabulous here. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Straightening up through those legs. Now, can you turn those same toes back out? So left toes turn back out. We're going to walk ourselves all the way around and then step back into your choice. Downward dog, hands and knees, kneeling plank. If you'd like to flow, we're going to flow. Inhale to ripple forward. As we exhale, maybe lowering through the knees, then maybe the chest, then maybe the chin if you'd like to go more classical. Inhale to sweep yourself up and forward. Exhale to push up and back, downward dog. Nice big breath in here, friends, please. Exhaling it out. 2 more breaths to maybe pedal out through those legs. When you're ready, inhale to lift your heels. Bend your knees, look forward as you breathe out. Gentle walks up to meet your hands. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to melt it down. Press your feet through the floor as we ripple, roll ourselves all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands down, hands to your hips. Take a quick pause. Now we have our second side. All of the information of that first side still totally with us. And when we turn, you're going to end up with my bum in your face. Inhale to reach it up. Exhale to melt forward over those legs. Inhale to come up halfway. Lowering down, step your left leg back, left knee finds the floor. Hug the feet and the legs in. Reach the arms up. Maybe the fingers interlace, come behind the head. Inhale to lengthen up. Now we find that opposing experience of the bottom half of the body hugging in as the upper body leans up and back. Can we charge up through those legs? Lift yourself to hover. Holding it here for 2. For 1, can we reach this experience up? Maybe your back leg is a little extra splitty. Mine definitely was. Arms can come up, arms can come to hips. Can we tilt ourselves forward, keeping those thighs nice and active? And then it maybe comes down towards the floor, knowing that one side can totally be a different experience from the other, and we honor them both. Hugging the legs and zipping through the thigh. Now, maybe it feels reasonable to keep the hips where they are and just start to think about that upper body rotating and spiraling. Rotating and spiraling, and maybe the arm follows with you. You're trying to zip up through that quad. We're trying to press both feet into the floor, hug both feet and hips towards the midline. 2 more breaths here, please. Now, maybe it feels reasonable instead to keep both hands down, and that's perfectly perfect. Bringing your hands down to the floor. Can we bend into that knee, sweep the arms up, and like a fountain, evolve and open ourselves into our warrior 2. Feeling those legs hugging in, finding our little bits of housekeeping here. So that back toe, that back foot is parallel to the back edge of your mat. Front knee is pointing forward over those front toes. Glutes and quads are drawn up, rotating through those thighs. Arms are searching here. Now, taking this into that little sort of experiment of a sandwich, can we keep the knees bent, or the front knee bent, I should say, and we're just going to slide and reach forward. Flip that palm to face up, add the top arm with you, and I know I'm facing away, but it's kind of nice because you get to see the back experience now too, right? So I'm not allowing my low back to come forward. I'm trying to keep that sort of a tuck like you had to find on the floor of the arms. We're just going to flow through those arms. Inhale to open back up. Check in with the home base of your legs. And then slide, reach, and close like a sandwich. I don't know why this feels like a sandwich to me. Maybe it's because we're sandwiching our heads. 2 more. Opening it up. Exhaling, close, and reach. 1 more time. Inhaling to open. Exhale, close and reach. Now remember, this arm is like an extension of that leg. They're on the same plane. Bottom arm comes with you. We're lengthening up and out. So this is definitely an oblique side plank moment. Take your breath in. As we breathe out, let's bring ourselves all the way up. Straighten through that leg. We're going to turn our toes to face in. Now this is where I may be going to give you a bit of a bum shot. Sitting up, standing up nice and tall, and then melting forward in space. If you feel like you would like a bit of a sway here, feel free to sway. A bit of a bendy bend in the knees. Then we're going to take our hands, walk our hands back to that front foot, turn the back toes to face your front of your mat, pivot. Now your choice, if you'd like to step back to a downward dog, to a child's pose, to a hands and knees, maybe to a plank. Take a breath in here, please. Take a breath out. Keep pushing that floor away. Keep zipping up through the thighs and belly. Take your breath in. As you breathe out, maybe lower knees, maybe lower chest, maybe lower chin. Inhale to come up into your back bend. Exhale, wherever you are, we're all going to meet back in a child's pose. Take a breath in here, please. Take your breath out. Inhaling in here. Exhaling it out. Now, if being in a child's pose doesn't feel fabulous for you, you're welcome to be on your back or any version that feels better. Maybe walking your hands over to the right, feel your left hip drawing back in space. Hands through center, over to the left, feel your right hip drawing back in space. Hands through center, bringing yourself all the way up. Now your choice if you would like to downward dog it, if you would like to child's pose it. Hips up and back here. Take your breath in. Sigh it out. Lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward. Little teeny tiny steps up in towards the middle of your mat. Push the floor away and roll your lovely selves up. Shoulders give a roll, maybe reaching up through those arms. And then bringing them down through center. Okay, so a little bit of a shakety shake here, yeah? A little bit of a shakety shake through those hips. Let's plant our feet down. And let's stand really nice and rooted in that left foot. Can we take our right foot and peel up to our toes? And then without lifting the leg off the floor. So I'm really good at sitting into my low back. I have to work super hard on those low abs. Without lifting this leg up anywhere, let's just turn it out. And then bring it back to center. And then turn it out. Back to center. And then turn it out. Back to center. And then turn it out. Okay, if that feels reasonable, you're going to stay there. Maybe it feels reasonable to lift this leg up. Now, again, we want to check in and make sure we're not sticking our bums out, that we haven't hiked up through our hips. We want to try to keep our hips really nice and level. Same thing, just with a higher effort here. Maybe we can turn the leg out and then find center. Maybe you can go in a little bit here too. Turn the leg out and then center and maybe in. And if you're on the floor, you're still working nice and hard here. Turning it out. Turning it in. 2 more. I find it helpful to hug my arms in towards each other. You might want your arms up. 1 more time. Out. And in. Maybe we can turn that leg out. Now take your turned out leg, whether it's on the floor, whether it's lifted in space, and can you pull it in and then place it on your body? So if I turn to face you, I'm in a tree pose. And we got there by playing with our external and internal rotation. We turned the leg out and then we pulled it back and in. Ta-ta! Arms can be up, arms can be at your heart, arms can be open. Whatever feels good for you. But maybe there's an opportunity here, that delicious upper body lift we've been working on through our whole time together can have a chance to be open and present. We're going to reverse engineer this. So pulling everything back to center. Now your leg is turned out. So maybe it stays to the floor. Maybe it stays up. Can you pull it back out in space? Can you rotate it to parallel? Can we reach it forward? Now we've been in this shape before, but now you have one leg that's not on the floor. Can you super zip it up? Feel like you're pushing it away for 2, standing leg on fire for 1. Bring it in, give it a little wiggle, wiggle. Whew, super fun. Let's go the other way. So standing on your right foot this time, feeling the toes spread, feeling the foot plant, coming up onto your left toes. Now notice it's kind of easy to like Pink Ladies Grease style, sit into your right hip. Can we lift up? We're going to just rotate and then come back to center. And then rotate, come back to center. Rotate it out, back to center, rotate in. Good. Maybe it feels reasonable to keep the pelvis level, to keep the bottom leg active, to pull that leg up. And we can turn it out. Bring it to center. Turn it in. Now notice that your internal is not going to be as big of a visual experience as your external, and that's just the way that our hips are designed in our hip socket, right? It's nothing personal. It's just anatomy. Turn it out. Keep standing, pushing your right leg to the floor. Okay, let's take that left leg. Let's turn the left leg out. Can we keep it turned out and pull it in and place it somewhere on your body? Standing nice and tall on that supporting leg. Maybe your hands come to your heart, maybe to your hips, maybe out, maybe up. I don't mind. But wherever we are, my leg is sliding. Not letting our hips sort of stick out in space, yeah? Arms can be open. Maybe there's that moment where our heart gets to radiate out. Take one more breath in. Breathing out, collect everything back to center. Now keep the leg turned out. We're going to reverse engineer it. Rotate it back to parallel. Kick the left leg out. Stand on that standing leg. Maybe reach your arms out for 3. Fire, fire, fire for 2. Fire, fire, fire for 1. Bring it in. Give it a little shake. Nice job finding yourself to top quarter of your mat. Inhaling, the arms come up. Exhaling, floating it down in space. And then however you would like to bring yourself all the way down onto the floor is totally up to you. Can we lower ourselves all the way down onto our backs, planting the feet on the floor? Arms can be down beside us. As we inhale here, we're going to scoop and roll our pelvis, reach the arms up, let the arms come back as the hips go high, and then exhale, close everything in. Inhale, scoop, tuck, roll, lift the hips up, reach the arms up and back as you find a nice big stretch out through the front of the body. Exhale to roll it down. And as the front of the body opens, the back of the body is drawing in. 2 more. Inhale. There are glutes, hamstrings, inner thighs here, reaching through the knees and the fingertips. Exhale to melt it down. 1 more time. Inhale to scoop and lift the hips up, reach the arms up and back. Keep the arms up and back and gently 1 vertebrae at a time. Roll your spine down to the floor. Feeling the arms maybe staying overhead, maybe coming down, whatever feels good for you. Allow those knees to give themselves just a little teeter-totter side to side here. Coming up and then over. Little bit of a rock. Lots a bit of a breath. Feels nice to plant the feet. Walk them back to you. Take the arms up in space and collect yourself into a tight, tight ball. If you'd like to take a twist here, you can. Or if you'd like to take a happy baby, maybe bending through the knees, drawing the thighs in towards you. Maybe outside of ankles or shins. Maybe through pinky toe. If you have really long arms, you can maybe wrap around, but that's not in my scope of practice. Hugging thighs in. Giving yourself a little rock across your back. Take a nice big breath in through the nose. Sigh out through your mouth. Gently releasing the shape that you have found. And if there is any other movement you would like to take, please feel free. Otherwise, you are welcome to start setting yourself up for your Savasana. I'm going to grab a pillow for my legs, maybe a blanket for your body. Maybe a pillow for behind your head. Setting yourself up for corpse pose. or reset pose, whatever or however you would like to consider this in your practice, but knowing that it's a part of what makes this practice balanced. As you find yourself in your Shavasana, taking these first few moments to just sort of play with experience. Maybe there's a hum in your body of energetic movement. Maybe it's perfectly ready for stillness. And as you settle here, can you sort of start to find an imprint of any surface where your body and the floor meet? Or any support underneath your body, I should say. If you've got a pillow under your knees, that counts too. A blanket underneath your head, that counts. And as we're feeling these imprints underneath us, allowing our breath to let them become deeper, more supportive, more molded for us. Now I'm going to bring myself up and out of Shavasana to play some chimes. You are welcome to stay exactly as you are. If it is your desire to close practice together, know that I will be offering that. If it is your desire to stay in your delicious Shavasana land for as long as possible, you are more than invited to do so. Taking a nice big breath in and then exhaling it out. If it is your desire to close practice, taking a big inhale in, exhale, let it go. Maybe collecting your knees into your chest, giving yourself a little rock side to side. Maybe a stretch overhead. And when you're ready, finding yourself all the way over onto one side. Gently bringing yourself up to a version of seated. The invitation is always eyes open or closed. Any version of upright that feels reasonable for you. Placing a hand at heart or heart center, second hand over that and bowing in. There's so much magic happening in the chemistry of being a human, in the alchemy of our bodies, the tissues, the cellular reactions that are happening all the time. And it is a privilege to get to be in these bodies and move together. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide your practice today. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, thank you, thank you.